Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Baka podcast.
Baka.
It's amazing how every time you open your mouth, you prove you're an idiot.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to a mini-sode of Baka. Usually we watch an anime every 2 weeks and come together to talk about it for a long time. But every other week we get together and talk for a very shorter long time about something else. And that is what we're doing right now. My name is Troy, and I'd like to introduce my co-host. And first off, we have the chicken dinner to my PUBG, Jeremy.
Oh, I've heard of that game. Yeah.
It's tough.
Yeah. I am waiting with bated breath for BattleTech. I got into the breach, and it's fun, but BattleTech's coming out in April, and I want it now. It looks so great. It's it's what I've always wanted in the BattleTech board game. A linear, well, not really linear, but a campaign, a single player campaign where you get to be a merc and you get to have your own merc company and you get to negotiate salvage rights and you get to be betrayed by some of your contracts and just so good.
Okay. We also have the umbrella to my Fortnite, Jason.
See, the problem is that I don't really play either of those games, so
I happen to know for a fact you've played Fortnite. So
but I have no idea what the umbrella is.
it's what you get when you win. If you win, you get to have an umbrella, and you have a chicken dinner if you win in PUBG.
Oh. Well, I'll take that as a compliment.
And the umbrella is much lamer, but also free to play.
Yeah.
Oh.
There's that.
How are you?
Doing all right. Been just keeping myself busy with the new League of Path of Exile. I can't believe I'm actually went back to that, but here we are.
Because every single person was expecting that. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, actually, I told myself I was not going to set this one out.
Did you get that Minecraft server set up yet in the cloud? I
So-
got my RAM.
Yeah. Because I've kind of found the limitation. I can have two other people besides me on it, on the one at home, without it having any issues. As soon as I add a fourth person, it just kind of is too much for it. So
sorry, listeners, you're out.
I don't even get to play.
Right? No. So I'll keep running it on my machine for now, and so I'm thinking that we can talk about it offline. So,
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah. No, I've been having a blast with Minecraft as well. I'm sure
good.
Troy wants to hear all about my adventures and what I've been crafting. Or maybe he can tell us how he's doing.
I'm doing great. Thank you for asking. Me and my family have been playing Danganronpa V3 together.
I was wondering if it was a meme game, and then I
God.
offended him
Oh, God.
with a really weird text message that has autocorrect.
I don't
Autocomplete is
even know what you were trying to say.
It's so great. You're playing Dank Tampon?
Yeah, that's right, Dank Tampon.
I spelled rompin'.
I mean, there's a lot of blood in the game.
I spelled dank space rompin', and I didn't see it autocorrect from rompin'.
It didn't think you knew what you were writing.
Apparently not.
Just so for the listeners who are like holding their bated breath to know what I think of it, it's pretty good. The first mystery made me frustrated, and if you've played it, you probably know why. It's probably pretty obvious, and I'll spoil it for you guys later because I know you're not going to play it. But other than that, it's been pretty classic, good anime like stuff. So yeah, and you know what? The Danganronpa animes are some of my favorites, so
They are pretty good.
Yeah. Now we have to go on to our mini-sode topic, which is going to be a little odd. Jeremy picked it. It is take an anime and turn it into a survival game because he's been playing Subnautica and these guys have been trying to get me to play 7 Days to Die. I won't.
You own it now. You have to.
And so the idea is what animes would fit that game genre type well, and so video game designers, these are free. You're welcome.
We have so many listening.
Maybe ask us to voice one of the characters. I'll be a zombie.
Hey.
That's my audition. All right, so let's start with the topic. Jeremy, you picked it. What is your first game?
So my first game is Made in Abyss. Just imagine going down into the abyss. You only go as far as you think you can go. You're surviving off the land. You're harvesting the creatures, harvesting the plants, and that would so capture the sense, I think, of Subnautica, where you explore as far as you believe you can survive in.
So this was on my list, and is the one I knew would be stolen.
Yep. Yeah. First one had to steal
absolutely.
The only thing I would mention is I think there should be a mechanic that like you gather supplies and stuff, but like, hey, there's the mushrooms that I need to eat, but if I walk up to get them, my health bar will automatically drop, and then the deeper you go, the more that effect kicks in. And I think you got a pretty good, fun survival resource gathering game.
You'd have to keep the crafting down to bare minimum. Like, Jason, you posted that video, which is great, about the, like a 1-sentence review of Subnautica that just never ends. It's forever. No punctuation. That's what it is. No punctuation.
No,
review.
Zero punctuation.
Yeah. And I love it because, he points out the fact that, you start with like 2 rocks and a twig, and you've got something in a regular crafting game, right? And then eventually you're like rubbing your AK-47 on crap in order to get a special scope or something, right? It never makes sense, but Subnautica pulls it off by having a fabricator, and you can imagine that it just deconstructs whatever molecular valuable things are there and turns it into what you need. And if you stuck with the limitations of Made in Abyss, where you're dealing with the exotics that exist in this strange place, some of them are magical.
Along with the steampunkness of it as well.
Yes, exactly. And if you tied those things together, but you kept it limited to, you can only craft, the things you would expect to be able to craft there, I think it could be really cool. But if you go crazy with it, wouldn't
you could use a relic, like say the character finds a relic that makes crafting fantastical things possible, and use that for in-game explanation.
That is very true.
And give it like charges, so like you can only use it like 5 times, and then it loses its magic.
Yeah. A lot of fun with this.
Jason, what's your first game?
That was definitely it. Made in Abyss. Right.
We want to go there.
The other one that actually jumped out at me was Knights of Sidonia. And the reason being is I like the idea of not only do you have this society that's kind of self-contained, but you're reliant on traveling and going to different places to get resources. And I could see having these space monsters be in your way while you're just trying to survive by either mining resources from asteroids or visiting planets to get food. I think that would be a pretty fun game.
So would you play as the whole colony?
I would probably play as I think the basis of the game would be like you got split from the colony. The colony is like, and you have to get back. That's the story, right? And so you have no idea where they are. You only have a general direction of which way they went, and you have no idea where their plans were. So you have to basically visit similar pit stops, because you would have like some basic tools that you could then craft into like a bigger ship with like bigger tools, so you could do better things, so you could travel faster to get back home.
It sounds like it almost has a little bit of a No Man's Sky flavor.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah. I could see that working out.
Especially if like
Sky could not. Boom.
especially if it was like you were a knight and you had one of your suits, and that's all you had is your survival gear and you're stranded, and you have to like build a ship that can like actually make the distance. And so you can like, similar to Subnautica, where you would have to have like a docking station for your ship so you could fix it up so you could fight the alien when it got to you.
I like that.
So my first one is School Live, which is an anime about 4 girls living in a school during the zombie apocalypse. I see the gameplay.
Oh, where one's like delusional, right?
Right. Which I'll get to in a sec. I see the gameplay very similar to War of Mine, where it's a lot of resource gathering, but risk versus reward of going out. But one of the mechanics would be one of your party members is delusional and doesn't realize they're in the zombie apocalypse, but that keeps your morale up. And if you lose your morale, that's a game loss. So you got to keep that character happy and safe, but also that character is the best gatherer because they're not scared and worn down by things. So you can play as the character and go out, and you'll see like, hey, there's a teacher in this classroom as I'm gathering. Is that a delusion or is that a zombie? And you got to watch how the teacher is walking. Is that teacher teaching across the room, or is it a zombie shambling back and forth?
That's pretty great.
And just I think you can get a lot of fun out of that.
That would be cool.
Next.
So my second one is, I don't know if either of you guys have seen this. It's an anime called Gargantia on the Verdurous Planet. Verdurous? You have seen it, okay.
I've seen it. How
about you, Jason?
I have not.
Okay, the basic concept is that a guy crash lands more or less in a mech suit on a SeaWorld, basically. But it is inhabited by people, and they live on floating barges, and the story is how he's supposed to get back to where he came from. And he still has a functioning suit, and he needs to just find some way back.
If I had to explain it in layman terms, it would be if a character in a ship from Knights of Sidonia landed in Waterworld with Kevin Costner.
You got it. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. And the coolest part is just like the scene in Waterworld where Kevin Costner is like going down and exploring the ruins. The same thing happens over and over again in Gargantia, where, you know, he's down there in his mech suit and he's looking around and seeing the ruins of the civilization before the world was covered in water. And just the idea of, again, like what you were saying, being disconnected from the larger barge and the fleet, and yet trying to survive. And maybe you've got the advantage of a mech suit. Maybe you don't. Maybe you just have like a sub or something, or a boat, and you're just trying to make it. But you'd have to have land of some kind. I mean, you're getting into the territory of Subnautica there.
Right.
But I think the concept of, if you tie in the ruins somehow, is where I think that a new game would be. Being able to extract things from them, find things in them, get your story from that direction, instead of the direction that Subnautica's story is taking, which is more exotic. It would be interesting to follow a little bit more mundane approach. And it's certainly an environment where we haven't really gotten to explore too many ruins underwater. I mean, as far as like, we always get the zombie apocalypse, but just vacant, empty ruins can give you a really weird sense of disconnection. I think that'd be really interesting to try and survive in.
Okay, nice. Sounds a little like Subnautica, but I don't think that's a bad thing.
Yeah.
I'd probably like an anime version of Subnautica better anyway. So
take it, break it, make it your own, right?
Yeah.
Right. My next one's a little bit of a joke one, but I think it would be fun if it was more sandboxy. Was Fist of the North Star.
I thought of that. I thought of that one as a joke too.
Right.
Yes.
So like, you're just trying to like go through the buildings and make yourself a home. But then you've got like these gangs, coming beating people up, and you are trying to come and get you, and you got to defend yourself. I think that'd be great.
The thought crossed my mind for like a Dragon Ball, but like really like first few episodes where you're in the Goku's wilderness and there's dinosaurs.
Right.
My second one is actually Attack on Titan.
That would be great.
With the idea that you're a survivor on the outside of the wall and having to scrap together gear to finally get... The goal would be to get into the city, but of course the city is surrounded by Titans. And it'd be I see it very similar to 7 Days to Die, actually. Of resource gathering and being careful of when you're being attacked, when you're being hunted and not. Finding horses, finding supplies, building, crafting, and then getting your character strong enough to survive the trip across the field into the city so they can get the gate open for you. And you'd have to get the 3D gear, like that'd probably be like 3/4 of the way through. Like that's the ultimate crafting thing, and that could really help you. But yeah,
man, that would change the dynamic of play when you get that gear.
They do have an Attack on Titan game, obviously, but it's definitely more of an action.
Oh yeah,
you're one of the soldiers. I like the idea of you're just this farmer who got stuck out in the world before they shut the doors, and you're like, oh man, I gotta get out of here.
Yep.
And seeing like as you're like walking through a path and you just see across the hill, like, oh gosh, here comes a Titan. He's a big naked man, baby, and he's coming at me.
I better hide.
Yep. Yeah, along the same lines, one of the ones that occurred to me was Cabanari of the Iron Fortress, which would be very, very similar.
Oh yeah, that would be a good one. Yeah. But it would also have the you have to keep the train going, right? You have to keep the repair up, and that'll give you a good place to have your resource to funnel into for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Any more? I'm all tapped out. Main Abyss was stolen.
For me, I would like to see more of a magic side of crafting and surviving out in the wilderness of like just about any MMO style anime. I have a fondness for Re:Zero, but I don't think the magic's as interesting. So maybe like a Sword Art Online or something. But instead of relying on just, hammer nails, rub rock with stick, get hatchet, it would be more of a casting. So like you're going out and finding nodes for like, maybe an aura node that you could draw mana from to then use or to use that node for crafting certain items, right?
And that would help too. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that would give more of a nomadic approach to the survival, but also allow, kind of give that story for why can you rub, 3 herbs and a stick together to get, this wand of fantastical power. Right?
That's magic.
Right, yeah. This is magic node that you're sitting under that you've now tapped out and it's now gone because you used it. I kind of like that kind of system. So,
well, Dwarf Fortress is actually starting work on Toadie's starting work on.
Well, we have to wrap up right there.
His myths. He's starting to work on myths and magic soon.
We are currently watching the anime ID Zero, which is on Netflix. ID Zero. Should be able to find it. And
Jason picked it, and it's quite amazing.
Are we just committing to that now? We're just pre-reviewing stuff. We're actually watching. I know we did that to you last week, and I'm not blaming you. We set the precedent, but are we going to turn into that
a regular thing now? Yes.
Okay. If you have thoughts on our games and you want to design them and hire us for voice acting, just pay us royalties or something, you can reach us at Baka Podcast or email the animebakaclub@gmail.com or leave a comment wherever you found this.
They can also reach us because we've got a Q&A coming up.
Yeah.
Thank you. I was about to say that. Those contacts also would be very helpful. The Q&A minisode we mentioned in our regular episode, we are actually recording for that in a few days. And if this is the YouTube, it's probably like one day. So that would be a good time to get those questions in.
What are you trying to say?
This is why you're the umbrella.
It's fair. I'll take it.
I'm just trying to cover bases. So if you have your questions now, even if you missed out, we'll probably still reach back out to you. And also, if you guys have like mini-sode topics and stuff, we would love to hear that kind of stuff too. But my idea for these Q&A is it's mini-sode topics you guys want us to touch on. But really, any question, like I said, that's not socioeconomic policies of the world, bring it on.
Or religion. We prefer to leave that out too.
And if there are no questions, which I'm assuming that's probably going to be the case, we do have a backup plan. Don't feel sorry for us. We are self-sufficient. Like a survival game. That's podcast. That's
way to tie it back.
Anime podcasting.
Well done.
It's like he's a professional.
I know.
I am not. I do not get paid. Listening to this minisode, we will be back next week with a regular episode. Let's say goodbye.
Thanks for listening.
See you next time.
Sayonara.